This story opens in the magic world, a realm of cities built upon floating islands. Within these cities, mages go about their daily lives in a bustling, traditional town, and every single day is dedicated to the relentless training and honing of their magical arts. Young apprentices clash fiercely with elemental spells, their shouts echoing through the training hall. Yet among them sits a young mage named Osugawa Talia, looking utterly bored by it all. His instructor furiously demands to know why he is slacking off when he should be training, reminding him that as the great master's top disciple, he is supposed to have immense talent. Talia just smirks, casually replying that he was not slacking off, just reading a comic. This furious instructor points out that to everyone else it just looks like he is sitting there. But a closer look reveals the truth: Talia is actually levitating just off the floor. He explains that moving is a pain, so he is just trying to master an air chair. Suddenly, an immense and powerful aura begins to radiate from Osugawa Talia's body. His fellow apprentices can only stare in awe, realizing he is overflowing with magical energy. They scramble for cover, desperately wondering what incredible magic Osugawa is about to create. Speculation flies about what powerful spell he will cast as our boy stands ready to unleash it. With a confident smirk, the white-haired man declares his decision is already made. He suddenly unleashes a spell meant to cure muscle aches, shocking everyone around him. A strange, dark substance is drawn from his hand as he casts the spell. His spell complete, he stands calmly while the onlookers stare in complete disbelief, then demonstrates the magic on himself, instantly curing the pain in his own leg. An observer comments on what a waste it is to use such powerful magic for something so trivial. Suddenly, the crowd erupts, recognizing him as the great demon god among the mages. Silencing them, he announces an important matter to discuss with everyone gathered here. His command is clear and absolute: bring a man named Osugawa Talia before him immediately. This mages panic, realizing he is not just making a request but a direct threat to Osugawa. A voice from a distant floating castle tells him to hurry as his arrival is expected. Arriving at his destination, the man kneels and formally introduces himself as Osugawa Talia. Before him, a woman in elegant robes greets him by both his titles, asking the purpose of his visit. She then inquires if he has come all this way just to show her some new magic he has learned. Osugawa Talia lists his recent creations: magic for muscle pain, removing lint, and making alarm clocks explode. A woman questions Osugawa's focus on peculiar magic instead of powerful combat spells, but he believes magic for daily convenience is far more important than any combat ability, revealing his ultimate goal is a lazy life where everything is handled within his room. With the conversation seemingly over, he asks if he is finally free to go home, but she pivots, asking if he knows about the mages currently causing chaos in the human world. A fundamental rule is explained: mages are forbidden from ever interfering with the human realm. Yet a rogue faction is now breaking that sacred pact, sowing chaos among the mortals. Declaring this transgression unacceptable, she orders Osugawa to go and capture the culprits himself, and the kid is visibly unenthusiastic about this sudden, high-stakes assignment. Immediately, he tries to refuse, claiming he is far too busy to undertake such a task. But the woman interrupts, questioning if he is feeling unwell and seeing through his flimsy excuse. So he desperately considers using sleepiness as an excuse but knows it is a weak argument. He then questions why he was chosen, arguing a proper combat mage should be sent instead. Because the enemy is numerous, she explains, and a specialist could easily face an incompatible opponent. But his strange, versatile magic is the key to handling any type of foe they might encounter. This lady tells him he has not changed since they first met, which is why she can trust him. Her faith in him is absolute, certain that a man like Osugawa is more than capable. Our boy remains unimpressed, noting it is only because he is her most precious disciple. As she tells him to get changed without fuss, a sudden flash of light erupts down the hall. Dressed in modern clothes, he is told this outfit will help him blend into the human world. This lady cheerfully declares that she is counting on him, finally revealing his full name, Osugawa Talia. Talia's expression sours as he bluntly refuses the assignment. She dismisses his refusal, telling him to go and think it over as another flash of light appears. Alone in the grand hall, she sighs about his tendency to delay things, turning to report to the great demon god. Her subordinate voices his concern, questioning if it is wise to trust Osugawa with such a vital task. He points out that Talia's lack of motivation is plain for anyone to see. This lady reflects on their history together, remembering moments of his weakness, laziness, and surprising kindness. With a confident thumbs up, she insists it is fine because his human origins make him think differently. This means he has the capacity to care for others, the most crucial quality for this fight. And just like that, Talia is dropped into the human world, looking around and wondering where he is. Stranded in the human world, Talia observes the peaceful, quiet countryside around him, still trying to process how he ended up in this miserable situation. He flashes back to just moments ago when he was simply training in the magic world, but the great demon god suddenly summoned him with an unavoidable command. Despite his desperate attempts to weasel his way out of the assignment, he was unceremoniously teleported here without any chance to argue further. Just as he is wallowing in despair, a tiny, doll-like figure suddenly appears before him. This little being introduces herself as a mini-avatar of the great demon god sent to assist him, and she quickly reminds Talia of his mission, to capture the rogue mages causing chaos, adding that the target is somewhere in this area but offering no other useful information. With her briefing complete, she announces she will be hiding in his hood for support. And as Talia sighs at his new burden, a voice calls out from down the road. A local boy on a bicycle rides up, stopping to ask if he is all right, his face filled with concern as he wonders if Talia is suffering from heat stroke. But our boy just brushes off the concern, insisting that he is perfectly fine. Waking up on the ground, Talia casually tells a worried local he was just sleeping. From his bike, the kind stranger notes that Talia does not look like he is from around here. He bluntly states he is a mage from another world, leading the boy to believe he is injured. Concerned, the boy insists on calling for help, much to Talia's growing annoyance, who suddenly retracts his statement, insisting everything he said was just a joke. Now changing the subject, he asks for a river because he is thirsty, leaving the boy confused. Horrified, the boy forbids him from drinking river water, offering his own home instead. This kind stranger then offers him a ride on the back of his bicycle. Talia quickly accepts, relaxing on the back and praising the simple joy of not walking. While our boy enjoys the wind in his hair, the cyclist struggles, amazed at his passenger's audacity. Intrigued by this kindness, Talia asks if he treats everyone this way, which the boy dismisses, explaining it is simply what his mother taught him to always be kind to others. Touched by this sentiment, Talia declares that valuing family makes him an admirable person. In return for the kindness, Talia prepares a spell to enhance the bicycle's propulsion. A sudden jolt throws the boy into a panic as the bike shoots forward with magical speed. On a rural path, a young boy asks if Talia is okay, but our mage just brushes it off. Their journey leads them to a small, weathered storefront in the quiet countryside. And the boy enters his family's shop, announcing he is home, with Talia right behind him. A young woman stocking shelves greets the boy, then turns to question who his companion is. He explains they met on the road and Talia was thirsty, prompting the woman to ask if he is a friend. With a bright smile, she tosses him a bottle of water, generously offering it for free. He catches it with a cool expression, offering a simple thanks for her kindness. Without a moment's hesitation, he chugs the water down as the others watch on. Feeling completely refreshed, he declares himself revived, which seems to amuse the shopkeeper. This boy then asks what brings Talia to their village, pointing out there is nothing to see. Our mage calmly clarifies he is not sightseeing, he is here on a job, revealing his mission is to hunt down the rogue mages causing chaos in the human world. A tiny familiar suddenly appears, confirming his story, though Talia seems annoyed by her presence. With that, he announces it is time for him to go, prompting the woman to ask his destination. But he just smirks, deciding to explore this world he has not seen in a long time. This shopkeeper warns Talia that it is getting dark and dangerous animals roam the area. Seeing he has nowhere to go, she kindly offers him dinner and a place to stay for the night. He tries to politely refuse the offer, but she insists they have more than enough food. Soon enough, the three of them are sharing a lively meal together at her home. Talia gives a thumbs up, praising the food, which clearly delights his host. She then offers him a drink, which he downs in one go, shocking the young boy beside him. This kid calls him a monster for handling the strong alcohol so easily, but Talia is unfazed. With a laugh, the woman praises him while her son questions if he is even old enough to drink. Talia casually reveals his true age is 321, a joke the others do not quite understand. Laughter echoes from the small, humble home as the night wears on. After the meal, the woman has fallen fast asleep right at the table. Her son gently tends to her, confirming with Talia that he is okay to stay in their spare room. This boy smiles, remarking on how much fun his mother had for the first time in ages, explaining she has not been this happy since his grandfather passed away last year. And he tells Talia not to worry about imposing, leaving our boy to quietly ponder his words. This boy reflects on the simple joy of family laughter, a feeling he has not had in a long time. Talia offers a rare, genuine smile, thanking him for the hospitality and the fun evening. He then casually asks if he can stay over, a question that completely shocks the kid, who panics at the thought of him leaving as his mother waves a sleepy goodbye from her room. Morning arrives, casting a peaceful light over the small countryside shop. On his second day in the human world, Talia prepares to depart and resume his mission. But he cannot help but wonder if this world is truly in danger, questioning if any rogue mages even exist. His doubts are shattered by a scene of utter devastation. The shop has been completely destroyed, with shelves overturned and goods scattered everywhere, a clear sign of a violent intrusion. Talia's calm demeanor vanishes as he immediately demands to know what happened, and the shaken boy can only stammer his name, confirming a terrible event took place. He explains they just woke up to find their home and livelihood completely trashed. This kid suspects it was a simple robbery, noting the register and merchandise are all gone. But Talia's expression hardens, a flicker of anger in his eyes as he senses something amiss. This lingering magical energy is undeniable, confirming his worst fears this was the work of a mage. This great demon god's voice echoes in his mind, asking if he understands the chaos mages are causing, and Talia realizes with disgust this is the work of the very people he was sent to stop. As the boy suggests calling the police, Talia silently observes the trashed family store. While his mother collapses in despair, apologizing over and over for the destruction, she clutches a framed family photo, promising her late father she will pull herself together soon. Tears stream down her face as she mourns the ruin of the shop he entrusted to her. Seeing her pain, Talia knows he must be the one to step up in this moment. He kneels beside her, offering a simple reassurance that everything will be all right. Then makes a solemn vow to hunt down the culprits and recover everything they stole. Both the woman and her son look up in complete shock at his sudden declaration. Turning to leave, our boy asks to borrow the kid's bicycle for the pursuit, also grabbing a discarded water pistol from the wreckage to take with him. Far away in the mountains, the true culprits are hiding out. Two rogue mages deactivate their collection spell, preparing to examine their loot. And from a dark portal, the shop's stolen cash register tumbles out onto the ground. Deep in the woods, two rogue mages use magic to violently crack open a stolen cash register. One praises his partner's collection spell, musing how easily they could rob entire stores now. This dark-haired leader smirks, promising this is just a warm-up for a much bigger, flashier heist. But from the shadows, Talia prepares a spell of his own, muttering about tying hair. Suddenly, the leader's head is violently yanked back by an unseen magical force. His blonde companion cries out in shock and pain, completely bewildered by the sudden attack. This dark-haired mage glares with annoyance, wondering what just hit him from out of nowhere. Panicked, his partner scrambles away, yelling for the leader to stay back and not get him hurt. Now wielding a blade, the rogue mage angrily demands to know who cast such a pathetic spell. Talia calmly approaches with the bicycle, revealing they robbed the very shop he was staying at. This leader grabs his terrified partner, using him as a shield while sneering at the newcomer. Our boy explains he was just a guest there for the night, implying a personal connection. With a wand now in hand, he formally introduces himself as the mage Oskawa Talia. This culprits are baffled, questioning why another mage would attack them so unexpectedly. Trying to de-escalate, the leader suggests they are all friends, but Talia coldly tells him to be quiet. Talia points accusingly, having tracked the rogue magic from the village to its source. He demands they return what was stolen and stop disturbing the peace of the human world. A rogue mage just scoffs at the demand, mocking Talia for trying to be a hero. And without another word, the man unleashes a powerful shockwave spell from his wand. This blast tears through the forest floor, narrowly missing Talia, who remains completely unfazed. A violent explosion erupts from the ground, a testament to the rogue's destructive power. This mage's partner recalls Talia's reputation for creating trivial spells, like one for removing lint, while his leader smirks, believing he is facing a weakling who can only master 2 spells in his lifetime. Convinced he has figured out Talia's gimmick, he confidently vows to end this fight now. But his confidence instantly shatters, replaced by a look of utter disbelief. Talia calmly rummages through his jacket, completely ignoring the threat as he searches for something. He then reveals a coat lined with countless wands, each for a ridiculously specific, everyday task, and the sheer number of spells leaves the rogue mage sweating and utterly terrified. Realizing Talia is no ordinary opponent, he freezes as our boy finally selects the perfect wand. Suddenly panicked, the rogue mage desperately tries to call a timeout, but it is already too late. This rogue mage smirks, assuming Talia was also targeting that same easy score. Unmoved by the taunt, Talia asks a chillingly personal question about the thief's family. A sudden flashback reveals a younger Talia, alone after his entire family was murdered. In the bloody aftermath, a woman offers to become his new parent, promising he is safe now. She sadly questions why such a terrible tragedy had to happen at all, but the broken boy can only whisper that it is already far too late for him, tearfully insisting that what was stolen from his life can never be returned. Back in the present, the rogue mage scoffs at how simple it is to steal from others, and Talia coldly agrees, stating there is nothing in any world that can be taken easily. Suddenly changing his tune, the thief agrees to return everything, preparing his collection spell. He plans to unleash all the stolen items at once, sending them flying from the portal. But a thin stream of water suddenly shoots out, striking him directly in the face. Stunned and on the ground, the man can only sputter in disbelief at the water attack. Talia reveals he is using the water pistol, a spell he made for fun that lacks real power. His opponent can only stare back in absolute, dumbfounded confusion. Talia aims the water pistol, explaining he just needs a moment to concentrate. With intense focus, he casts a spell to drastically amplify the toy's power. This simple water gun begins to glow, crackling with immense magical energy, and he unleashes its full potential, firing a single devastating blast at maximum output. A torrent of pure force erupts from the nozzle, aimed directly at his foes, striking the dark-haired mage with enough power to send him flying backwards. This supercharged stream carves a massive trench right through the forest floor, leaving the rogue mage tumbling helplessly through the air from the sheer impact. Looking down on them, Talia coldly states they cannot just do whatever they want here, his words echoing across the now devastated clearing where the mages lie defeated. Now that they are captured, he wonders aloud what he is even supposed to do with them. This tiny familiar suddenly appears, offering an immediate and surprisingly quick response. Presenting a special item imbued with the great demon god's own magical power, she instructs him to press the powerful seal onto each of the rogue mage's bodies, which instantly teleports them back to the magic world, solving his problem completely. His superior celebrates the capture of the 2 rogues, thanking him for a job well done. While back in the serene mage realm, a floating island hangs above a grand temple. This captured mages are dragged away in disgrace as the woman praises Talia's swift work. She playfully asks if trusting him was the right call, while her attendant looks on nervously. This attendant remarks on Talia's impressive power, admitting their own forces were no match for the rogues. but the leader simply reads a book, noting that this is only the beginning of their mission. A stack of reports confirms the massive task ahead, all resting on Talia's shoulders. Back in the human world, the small countryside shop now stands fully restored, leaving the boy and his mother to stare in utter disbelief at the impossible sight. Talia calmly pedals up on the bicycle, now impossibly loaded with all their stolen merchandise. And having been gone for less than half an hour, the boy demands to know who he really is. With a simple wand in hand, Talia announces he will use magic to put everything back. In a brilliant flash, every last item flies through the air, perfectly reassembling the trashed interior. And he turns to them with a serious expression, finally revealing his true identity as a mage. Both mother and son can only stand there, completely speechless at this impossible revelation. With all the stolen goods returned, Talia prepares to depart from the small countryside shop. Inside the nary-stocked store, the boy questions if our mage is truly leaving so soon. His tiny familiar suddenly speaks, shocking the kid who cannot believe a doll is talking. As Talia turns to go, both mother and son call out for him to wait, but the shopkeeper simply waves a heartfelt thank you, wishing him well on his journey. A quiet, determined look crosses Talia's face as he finally walks away. He offers a final word of gratitude, telling them to take care as he heads down the path, leaving the small village behind to continue his mission alone in the vast countryside. This tiny familiar on his shoulder notes his unusual energy, a stark contrast to his previous laziness, teasing him for sleeping on the road just yesterday, which only seems to annoy our boy. Talia's thoughts drift back to the family he just left, a faint smile on his lips. He recalls the warmth of their hospitality during their shared meal, a rare moment of peace, and remembers the profound sadness he witnessed after their shop was destroyed. A sight that reminded him of his own distant past, back when he was still human. This experience solidifies his resolve to help those who suffer if he has the power to do so. This familiar seems to agree with his newfound resolve as they continue their journey. With their next mission starting, she insists they must reach the next town without rest. Now on a mountain path, their official task is to capture rogue mages disrupting the human world. But searching for them aimlessly is reckless, as his companion points out they need a base first. Just then, a car appears on the desolate road, giving Talia a sudden idea. Determined to save time, he boldly sticks out his thumb to hitchhike a ride, but the car completely ignores him, speeding down the road without even slowing down. He is left standing awkwardly on the roadside, his plan an immediate failure. As another car approaches, he questions the plan, but the familiar insists it will work. At his companion's insistence, he tries again, this time yelling to get the driver's attention. This result is the same, as a small truck zips past without a hint of stopping. This time, however, the driver slows down, yelling back a warning about the dangerous road. His persistence pays off, and he manages to get a ride to the nearest town. Soon, the quiet countryside gives way to the towering buildings of a modern city, and their journey ends in front of a large concrete building, the first stop on their mission. Two underlings nervously discuss a rival group, the Shuigumi, who have grown too violent. Their boss just scoffs, offering to solve all their problems if they simply join his side. With the two men forced into a deep bow, the boss warns them not to underestimate him. Then calls upon his enforcer, Sagi, who utters a single, chilling command to freeze. A thick layer of ice instantly covers the table, shocking the man sitting beside him. This terrified underling can only scream, completely bewildered by this sudden display of power. His arm is now encased in solid ice, and he cries out in agony as the others watch him passively. This boss smugly introduces the source of this power as his newest ally. But the mage, Sagi, clarifies he is no one's companion, he is just here for the money. With a greedy smirk, he immediately raises his fee to $1 million per job, much to his employer's shock. Though unnerved by this mysterious power, the boss sees it as a tool to expand his influence. Elsewhere, the same boss is thanked for his help, seemingly running a legitimate business. Meanwhile, Talia arrives in a new city, his familiar perched on his shoulder as he takes it all in. He looks out over the bustling streets, remarking on the nature of this human city, noting how prosperous it seems and hoping to one day visit the capital itself. Arriving in a new town, Talia and his familiar decide to start gathering information, and their first stop is a local police station with an officer standing guard outside. This local lawman looks less than thrilled to be bothered, asking what they want. So Talia casually asks if he has seen any mages around, leaving the officer completely bewildered. When asked about any recent trouble, the officer dismissively states that is a job for the police, trying to get rid of him by mentioning a troublesome group called the Shuigumi. Hearing a lead, his familiar excitedly pops up, demanding to know where this group is, which completely baffles the officer, who mutters that everyone in town fears them. Talia's expression hardens as he notices the officer warning some local children to be careful, specifically telling the frightened kids to stay away from the park at all costs. One of the children explains that the park is right next to the Shuigumi's main office, and with nowhere else to go, they sadly ask where they are supposed to play now. Talia interjects, questioning if this town is so bad that children cannot even use the park. Sensing his intent, the officer sternly warns Talia to stay away from that group's territory. But with a reassuring smile, Talia gives a thumbs up, promising the kids he understands completely. Talia appears in a doorway with a serious look, announcing he needs to talk. He has arrived at a busy office, interrupting the work of several people at their desks. One of the men jumps to his feet, angrily demanding to know who this intruder is. Because he has just walked into the headquarters of the powerful Tenka Shuigumi syndicate. Ignoring the hostility, Talia explains he heard they were causing trouble and suspected a mage was involved. This group's leader furiously points, ordering his underlings to seize the unwelcome guest immediately, telling them to teach Talia a painful lesson he will not soon forget. But suddenly, one of his own men in a beanie strikes him down with blinding speed. Another member rushes to the fallen leader's side, trying to help him up in a panic, while the attacker reveals his true nature, stating he is a mage just like Talia. Our boy watches calmly, noting that these humans are no match for such an opponent. This beanie-wearing mage now turns his attention to Talia, asking what he wants from him. Talia states his purpose clearly. He is here on orders from the great demon god to capture rogue mages. This other mage scoffs at the idea of siding with humans, declaring neither of them are his allies. But Talia simply explains that to survive in the human world, one needs a powerful backer. This rogue mage calls it a win-win since these humans desperately need his power to survive. But Talia retorts that he is just acting selfishly, making innocent people suffer for his own gain, and with his toy weapon aimed, he declares he is using magic to amplify its power. A supercharged stream of water erupts from the toy, blasting towards his stunned opponent. But the beanie-wearing mage simply raises a finger, uttering a single command to freeze. Instantly, the entire jet of water solidifies into a massive wall of jagged ice spikes. Talia can only stare in disbelief, realizing his powerful water attack has been completely frozen, while the syndicate members scream in terror as their office is torn apart by the magical clash. His opponent just smirks, taunting that it is only natural for the weak to depend on the strong. So refusing to be mocked, Talia unleashes a rapid volley of water bullets at his enemy. This rogue mage's eye narrows in annoyance, telling Talia he needs to start using his brain. With another gesture, he conjures massive, sharp ice crystals that erupt from the ground around him. And his familiar points out the obvious: the attacks are being frozen before they can even connect. Standing amidst the wreckage of the office, Talia seems to be looking for something. His eyes then land on a peculiar bag of sweets left on one of the desks. This beanie mage points a finger, unleashing his ice magic with a single command. Talia is caught off guard by the sudden attack, struggling against the unseen force, and in an instant, a massive wall of jagged ice erupts, encasing him completely. Trapped inside, he tells his panicking familiar to help him out of this bind. Believing the fight is over, the rogue mage turns to leave, annoyed at the attempt to flee. He then addresses the stunned syndicate members, casually upping his fee for defeating another mage. This underlings whisper nervously among themselves, questioning if they can even afford his services. But the attacker suddenly realizes his opponent has vanished, wondering where he could have gone. He turns to find Talia standing right behind him in the hallway, wand at the ready. With a calm expression, Talia explains he is using a simple rubber band spell. Revealing his familiar has stretched herself across the hall like a massive slingshot, and with a command to release, she snaps forward with incredible speed. This rogue mage can only stare in shock as Talia uses the momentum to launch himself forward, crashing directly into his opponent with overwhelming and unexpected force. And with a confident smirk, he prepares to land the final, decisive blow. Talia looks down on his foe, smugly noting that he used his head for once. This beanie-wearing mage collapses in defeat, cursing his own powerlessness in the hallway, and he desperately rambles about all the chaos he still planned to cause in the human world. But Talia simply pats him on the back, casually telling him it is time to go home. Our boy then explains their situation as a simple matter of supply and demand, a win-win scenario. While the rogue insists Talia is just an extortionist, warning him to be careful with his own power. Unfazed, Talia unleashes his magic, sarcastically suggesting he could use it for air conditioning. His familiar runs up celebrating the victory, thanking him for his help with the rogue. Talia then demonstrates his rubber band magic, explaining its practical use for bundling things up. While back in the main office, the syndicate members wonder why the fighting has suddenly gone silent. Just then, Talia reappears in the doorway, calmly announcing he has taken care of their enforcer. He warns them that while he cannot harm them, he has memorized every single one of their faces, delivering a final, cold command for them to stop causing trouble for the townspeople. This terrified leader can only stammer in agreement, completely shaken by this display of power. And as Talia turns to leave, the boss screams at his men that they need to run now. With the office secured, Talia sighs, ready to hunt for the next rogue mage. But his familiar suddenly pipes up, mentioning a place she'd like to visit first. Surveying the Trash Syndicate headquarters, she notes that it is still a usable space, which gives her an idea they can use this office as their new information-gathering hub. She excitedly declares that their work is about to get much busier from now on, and so the former Syndicate building becomes their official base of operations. Inside, the once chaotic office is now neatly organized and ready for business, even featuring a new website advertising their problem-solving consultation service. Talia smirks, confident this will make finding jobs and rogue mages much easier. While the local kids, now free to play, happily show him a giant pinecone from the park. He casually asks if they have seen any mages, but the children just laugh at the silly question. Their new agency is officially open for business in the heart of the city. His companion proudly presents the new, surprisingly ornate sign for their consultation office, and Talia cannot help but admire the cool-looking sign for their new venture. But as he walks down the hall, he momentarily forgets why they started this whole business. His familiar excitedly explains her plan to lure out rogue mages by solving local problems. Impressed by her logic, Talia calls her a genius for making their targets come directly to them. With their new base secured, all they have to do is wait for the right client to walk in. Deciding to take a well-deserved break, Talia stretches out on the office couch for a nap. But a sudden, violent explosion rips through the room, throwing him violently to the ground. Dazed amidst the wreckage, he wonders if they are already under attack by another enemy mage. A voice from the smoke corrects him, insisting they are not an enemy but an ally. This dust settles to reveal a new mage, Yabuko Fuji, sent by the great demon god as backup. She frantically tries to hand him a letter of introduction while his familiar peeks out of a trash can. Talia looks at his glowing wand, thinking that while her entrance was dramatic, reinforcements are welcome. After the chaos, he calmly suggests she use her magic to help clean up the mess she made. He then formally introduces himself, welcoming the stunned Yabuko to their team as a new member. She is completely bewildered to learn he has opened a consultation office and she is now an employee. These two now sit across from each other in the newly tidied-up headquarters, an awkward silence hanging between them. Yabuko nervously processes this sudden change of plans, barely managing to understand her new situation. His familiar reminds him of their mission to capture rogue mages causing trouble in the human world. A new girl on their team suggests they gather information from ordinary citizens to find their targets, but she immediately screams in frustration, calling that plan far too slow and indirect. She insists they should just run around and hunt them down, an idea Talia dismisses as pure brawn. Though she understands the impatience, she acknowledges the wisdom in the saying, more haste, less speed. Talia calmly states that for now, their only option is to wait for jobs to come to them. She complains that there is a limit to just waiting around as Talia lounges on the couch with snacks. But just then, the silence is broken by the ringing of the office phone. Answering the call, Talia nonchalantly advises the person on the line not to mention being a mage to strangers, leaving the new girl completely confused until the familiar introduces herself as the mini-demon god. As he gets up, he addresses the new girl, Yabuko, with the mini-demon god looking on. With a confident thumbs up, Talia announces a job has already come in, stunning Yabuko with the news. Their new mission takes them out into the sprawling cityscape once more. Their first client is a man overwhelmed by garbage, asking them to use magic to sort it all, followed by another request to fix a broken roof for an elderly man using adhesive magic. Their first job involves helping a local girl find her lost cat using scent tracking magic, and back at their newly established headquarters, the mission is a clear success. Talia happily notes how grateful everyone was, showing off the gifts they received as payment. He even thanks his new partner for her assistance on the successful mission, but she is just thrilled to receive a cucumber as her share of the reward. Her excitement quickly turns to rage as she smacks him, yelling this has nothing to do with finding mages. Talia tries to calm her down, but she insists this is not working while also admitting the cucumber is delicious. Complaining their current pace is far too slow, she presents her own detailed plan for hunting mages, a wild strategy that involves them running 200 kilometers a day to patrol the entire city. As Talia tells her to slow down, she is suddenly interrupted by a new request coming in. This mini-familiar proudly reveals she created a website for their agency, which is how the job arrived. On-screen, an email details their next case. Someone is robbing vending machines and the police are useless. Their investigation leads them to a lone vending machine on a quiet street at night, a seemingly ordinary machine just waiting for its next customer, when suddenly tiny ghostly figures burst out, carrying away all the money from inside. Under a lone streetlight, an army of tiny creatures gathers coins from the street, their destination a large, dilapidated warehouse on the outskirts of town. Inside, the little minions proudly present the money they have collected for their master, a young man in a backwards cap who muses on this strange new use for his magic. This mage, Hitomi Katao, smugly believes himself a genius for his petty scheme, but a sudden rattling at the locked door quickly catches his attention. In the next instant, the entire door is blown off its hinges with explosive force, leaving Hitomi startled but intrigued, realizing he has finally stumbled into a real mage-related incident. Talia and his companions stand in the breach, announcing they are here about the stolen vending machine money, and a shocked Hitomi demands to know how they found him, only to be told of a client's request. Our boy explains that the stolen money left behind a magical residue that was easy to track. Enraged, Hitomi leaps to his feet and points a strange tool, commanding his minions to take form. His companion watches curiously, wondering aloud if this is some kind of doll manipulating magic. With a determined glare, Hitomi gives a single, sharp command for his creations to combine. This tiny figures immediately swarm together, merging into a massive golem with him at its core. Yabuko watches in shock as the tiny minions merge into one massive golem with Hitomi at its core. With a confident cry, the newly formed creature winds up for a devastating punch, smashing into the ground with incredible force as Yabuko desperately leaps to safety. As the golem gives chase, a panicked Yabuko screams for a plan, but Talia remains unfazed. Stealing her resolve, Yabuko declares she will handle this herself, brandishing her own magical tool. Talia watches with interest while his familiar notes that her type of magic is quite unusual. She proudly announces her specialty is summoning magic, ready to show her true power. focusing all her energy into a single powerful command to call forth her beast. But her grand spell results in nothing more than a pathetic puff of smoke, stunning them both. And from it emerges a tiny dragonfly, identified as the weakest insect in the entire magic world. Talia stares on with a completely deadpan and unimpressed expression. While Hitomi bursts out laughing, mocking her for summoning something so pathetic, her opponent openly taunts her, asking if she seriously failed her big summoning spell. But Talia calmly reassures her, noting that even weak-looking summons can be surprisingly powerful. With tears in her eyes, she miserably admits that no, she just genuinely messed up the spell. Yabuko panics as the golem charges, admitting she cannot use her magic properly. Talia dismisses her pathetic summon as useless, leaving her on the verge of tears. He tells her not to worry while they retreat, but she is distraught over her magical failure, and this failure triggers a painful memory of the pressure from her family. A flashback reveals a harsh upbringing, constantly shamed for her inability to use summoning magic. As the eldest daughter of a prestigious clan, she was seen as a complete disappointment. Her relatives turning away in disgust while muttering what a shame she was. All her summoning attempts produced was a pitifully weak creature, confirming their scorn. This weight of that memory brings her to tears, feeling utterly useless in the present. Talia recalls her family is famous for their magic, making her struggle even more profound. And she tearfully explains this mission from the great demon god is her one chance to prove her worth. Her entire future is riding on making this a success, no matter the personal cost. With tears streaming down her face, she vows to finally earn everyone's acknowledgement. But Talia, now looking serious, tells her to stay put while he handles the situation. He then gives her a direct order, stating that mastering her magic is the key to victory. To calm his frantic partner, Talia activates a strange aroma oil magic. Panicked, she demands to know what he is doing, but he simply calls the scent relaxing. Talia calmly explains that it is okay for things not to go perfectly all the time. He then points his wand at the surprised Yabuko, telling her she is trying too hard. This mission was given to them both, he explains, so they should share the burden. His words leave her completely stunned, unable to process his unexpected kindness. Meanwhile, back in the warehouse, Hitomi's golem wonders where its opponents have vanished. A sudden noise makes him turn, only to find the two standing right behind him. Talia asks if she was listening, but Yabuko steps forward, insisting she will handle this part. A strange feeling comes over her as she prepares for the fight. For some reason, she feels like her senses are sharper than ever before. Talia watches on, realizing his words about taking it easy had an effect. A sense of calm washes over her, a feeling of confidence she rarely has. And with a determined cry, she unleashes her powerful beast magic. A massive lion-like magical beast materializes, roaring at the stunned golem. Hitomi screams as his golem form violently dissolves, with Yabuko watching in horror. This massive construct completely shatters, crashing into a heap of dust and debris. Yabuko is stunned. The rogue mage survived, as the familiar praises her master's choice of ally. Overcome with emotion, she cries tears of joy, celebrating their hard-won victory. She excitedly runs toward her own massive familiar, finally letting it out to celebrate. Happily embracing her own summon, she declares how reliable and strong it looks. Back at their headquarters, the familiar announces a new request has arrived for someone named Azawa. Talia tries to take a break, but an energetic Yabuko insists they keep going, calling him stoic. Their new case is a strange one, a bronze statue stolen from a museum by a thief doing a headstand. Reviewing the details, they learn the statue weighs 800 kilograms and the method is unknown. As they eat instant noodles, the familiar chimes in, calling the entire case very strange. Talia agrees it is weird, but Yabuko immediately concludes this must be the work of a mage. With their next case decided, the team prepares to head out and investigate the scene. Arriving at the deserted art museum, they note the stolen statue was its main attraction. Yabuko passionately vows they will catch the culprit, and Talia calmly agrees to the plan. At the museum entrance, Yabuko fumes when Talia teases her about the ticket price, insisting she is an adult. She proudly declares she is 25 years old, leaving Talia completely stunned by her actual age. Inside the building, they make their way through the grand hall toward the scene of the crime. Finding the empty pedestal roped off with a sign confirming the statue was stolen from this very spot. Talia senses a faint magical residue lingering in the air, calling out to the unseen culprit. But their investigation is interrupted by two suited individuals, one demanding to know their business here. This man with the sword declares they are here to catch the thief and warns the other to stay back, though his blonde-haired companion seems to disagree with his assessment of the situation. As Talia and Yabuko walk on, he speculates the thief might be a streamer trying to create content, while the mini-demon god happily plays with a doll, adding a strange layer to the tense atmosphere. These two investigators suddenly reappear, the swordsman ordering Talia's group to halt immediately. Talia's gaze narrows, noticing something odd about the man's hair accessory. In a flash of realization, the swordsman identifies them, snarling that they must be mages. He draws his blade and accuses them of being the statue thieves, preparing to strike. Yabuko panics at the sudden accusation, while Talia remains completely unfazed by the threat. A new figure with a katana suddenly smashes a pillow directly into Talia's face. This attacker glares down, demanding to know what is going on, but Talia nonchalantly reveals he summoned the low-impact pillows with his own magic. This confrontation escalates as two men in suits face them down, leaving Yabuko stunned. Their leader questions if Talia's group knows exactly who they are dealing with. He introduces himself as Tsujimura Rei of the Police Magic Special Unit, alongside his partner Urasa Jin. Yabuko cannot believe it, specialist mages working as police officers. These two officers now stand over them, beginning their official interrogation. Their familiar explains she has heard of an organization that hunts mages in the human world. Tsujimura confirms they are that very unit, pointing his blade at the small group. He reveals that while mages are a secret, the highest levels of law enforcement are fully aware. Their special team's entire purpose is to patrol the city and capture rogue magic users. This unit's standing order is clear: all mages are to be arrested on sight. Yabuko leaps to her feet, protesting their innocence and explaining their own mission. But Tsujimura coldly states that it does not matter, as all mages are criminals without exception. An official from the museum notes their passionate dedication to the case, but Talia dismissively states that catching a dangerous magic user is simply their job. He then tells the man to go home and leave the investigation to them, sparking his anger. This official pulls rank, arguing about age until Talia reveals they are both 32, confusing Yabuko. Talia boasts that he can sense the thief's magical trail and find his hiding spot, but the official smugly retorts that he already knows the culprit's exact location. He then orders them to stand down, insisting his own people will handle the case from here, declaring that mages are untrustworthy and will only try to flee the scene. With a sigh of resignation, Talia seems to concede the point, leaving Yabuko puzzled, when suddenly a new agent appears, proposing a plan to the surprised official. Their search eventually leads them to a secluded spot under a large city bridge, where the massive stolen bronze statue is impossibly balanced on its head. A young mage admires his prize, marveling at a beauty he claims the magic world lacks. This thief, Karuizawa Shichita, eagerly plots to expand his strange collection even further, just as Talia's team arrives on the scene, confirming they have found their target. A man with glasses and a stern look warns someone not to give him orders. His name is Azawa, and he has arrived in a black car, confronting Yabuko on her summon. Standing with a white-haired boy, Azawa declares that after dealing with the thief, his new partner is next. From above, Yabuko questions if they can truly cooperate with these two newcomers. She finds both of them unsettling, worried about having to call them allies for this mission. This white-haired boy suggests that working together might get them info on other mages from the police. Their target appears, a thief casually holding the massive statue upside down with one hand. He effortlessly balances the 800-kilogram statue, remarking on how light it is, stunning his pursuers. A realization dawns on the white-haired kid: it is magic that reduces an object's weight. With a taunt, the thief makes his escape, hopping away while still in a handstand. As Talia yells for him to stop, the white-haired boy takes aim with a strange water pistol. A powerful blast of water sends the thief flying, ending the chase in an instant. Talia questions the magic used, learning it simply enhances the power of a water gun. Furious at the unauthorized display, Talia grabs the boy, demanding who gave him permission to use magic. While the two argue, the defeated thief on the ground prepares for a counterattack. This defeated thief retaliates, ripping a massive chunk of earth into the sky. He screams that he is using his full power to levitate the ground before letting it go, intending to drop the entire landmass on the unsuspecting town below. Enraged, the police swordsman Tsujimura kicks the downed culprit, calling him a menace. He reluctantly draws his blade again, realizing he has no other choice. His resolve hardens as he declares this is to protect the citizens. Tsujimura then asks the white-haired boy for help, saying it is better than nothing. With a confident smirk, the boy simply agrees that it is the obvious choice. This swordsman charges his blade with pseudo-magic, preparing for a powerful slash. At the same time, the white-haired boy aims his water pistol for maximum output. Together, they unleash a combined assault straight toward the floating island. Their attacks collide with the landmass, causing a massive explosion in the sky. From a distance, Azawa notes the cleanup will be a huge pain as Yabuko watches on. Back on the ground, the now captured thief is tied up and defeated. This white-haired boy taunts him, asking if he still plans on trying to capture them. Talia reluctantly agrees that it is the obvious course of action for now. With the situation resolved, Azawa calls it a day, telling his team they will get their chance another time. Yabuko worries about Azawa's intimidating presence, asking the white-haired boy if he is okay. But he just smirks, casually dismissing the police mage as not being a real threat. Later, the white-haired boy taunts Tsujimura by calling him round glasses, earning a furious correction. Sometime after, he and Yabuko are shopping for supplies in a bustling district, and she notes how convenient the location is, being so close to their headquarters. This boy sees the crowd as an opportunity, a perfect place to gather intel on other mages. Suddenly, a cheerful voice calls out to them, getting their immediate attention. A girl in a witch costume happily offers them a flyer for her shop, which turns out to be a magical party at a themed cafe in the shopping district. With a playful wink, she announces that they are all magic users there, just kidding of course. Her words instantly put the white-haired boy and Yabuko on high alert, sensing something is off. He immediately plays along, claiming they are also mages on a mission from the demon god, stunning everyone, and the girl, taking the bait, happily agrees to lead them to her mysterious shop. Their investigation leads them to a themed cafe called Magical Party, where Yabuko and the white-haired boy are met with an overly cheerful welcome. A waitress in a witch hat explains she is under orders from the great demon god to capture them. She then begins to lay out the cafe's entire backstory for all the patrons to hear, telling a wild tale of a demon king's tyranny forcing mages to open cafes just to survive. Yabuko is completely horrified by the news of a recession in her homeland, while the waitress gets far too into her role, earning a skeptical look from the boy. This performance suddenly ends as the waitress simply asks if they are ready to order. In the back, two staff members whisper that these new customers are clearly high-level individuals, but the other patrons just assume it is all part of the show, enjoying the unique concept. Yabuko, still playing along, explains that the Demon King is the great demon god's infamous brother, which sends an employee into a panic, suspecting they are spies from a rival shop. This manager, Odawara Nagisa, steps forward, determined to prove her cafe's worldview is superior. A strange energy fills the room, a mix of role-playing staff and oblivious customers. Amid the noise, Yabuko realizes that for a place full of mages, she cannot sense any magic at all. In a strange cafe, Talia tells Yabuko to keep her guard up while they wait. A waitress dressed as a witch suddenly appears, serving them 2 plates of pancakes. Explaining this special dish requires a little extra work, she asks them to wait just a moment longer. While Yabuko is captivated by the sweet aroma, Talia seems completely unfamiliar with the food. Amused by his ignorance, the waitress decides to cast a special spell on their meal. Yabuko panics at the mention of magic, a reaction the waitress seems to thoroughly enjoy. This eccentric server then announces a delicious spell, insisting they all participate in the ritual. Both of them are left speechless and confused as she prepares to begin her chant. This whole group awkwardly begins a strange chant together at the waitress's command, raising their hands in the air to complete the bizarre food blessing ritual. With a final flourish, the waitress completes her spell, leaving her customers stunned. Yabuko questions why she did not use a wand, but Talia just tells her to eat already. Her magic, she explains, works on the sense of taste, asking if they are ready to try it. Proudly boasting about the shop's unique atmosphere, she invites them to finally dig in. As Talia calmly takes a bite, Yabuko's eyes widen in absolute shock at the taste. Yabuko is overwhelmed by the incredible flavor while Talia calmly enjoys his own meal. This waitress stares in disbelief, completely baffled by their genuine reactions. Yabuko cannot stop eating, exclaiming that such sweets do not exist in her world. While she is ecstatic, Talia maintains his stoic expression, simply calling it good. A nearby customer notes how different their response is from anyone else's. This waitress realizes they are fully committed to the role of never having eaten pancakes. Impressed by their performance, she declares them professional actors with incredible dedication. Talia, however, still cannot sense a single trace of magic from anyone in the cafe. He then bluntly accuses her of lying about being a real magic user. Her eyes squeeze shut as the direct accusation shatters her composure. Panicked, she insists she cannot break character as another employee calls for the manager. This waitress stands frozen as a tense silence falls over their table. Taking a calm sip of his drink, Talia says he finally understands what is going on. She explains the cafe's entire concept is that mages run it, a unique theme. This waitress then compliments their own dedication to the role-playing, impressed by their passion. Talia casually sips his drink, confirming they are actual mages, much to Yabuko's amazement. This waitress admits she inherited the cafe and only added the magic theme to boost sales. He bluntly asks if she is just running away, but she simply says she is glad to have met them. She then drops a bombshell: the cafe is closing for good at the end of the month. With a wry smile, she gestures to the empty seats, admitting the business is not exactly thriving. Nearby patrons, all regulars from the district, are stunned by the sudden news of the closure. A look of sadness crosses her face as she resigns herself to fate, saying it was fun while it lasted. Talia calmly states the shop should continue, praising the excellent pancakes and coffee, and Yabuko enthusiastically agrees, declaring she could eat another 20 pancakes right now. Their passionate response leaves the waitress completely baffled by their investment in her cafe. Our boy watches her reaction intently, a plan clearly forming in his mind. This waitress then notices a tear in her uniform, sadly noting she cannot afford to fix it. At that moment, Talia stands up, announcing there are 2 things they can do for her. This first, he explains while pulling out his wallet, is to pay their bill as proper customers, leaving her stunned as he reveals his second plan: to fix her torn clothes on the spot. A sudden flash of light engulfs the blonde waitress, who cries out in total confusion. This other server is also glowing, realizing her own uniform has been magically repaired. Overjoyed, the first waitress marvels at how her once stained clothes are now perfectly clean. As Talia and Yabuko go to pay, the astonished staff member calls for them to wait. Staring in disbelief, she finally suspects that these 2 might actually be real mages. Talia casually hands her a business card for his newly opened counseling office nearby. He tells her to come to them anytime she is in trouble, leaving the waitress speechless. Their new base of operations is a modest building nestled in the city district. Later, a delivery girl with a helmet arrives, bringing Yabuko a box of pancakes. This girl thanks Talia for his advice, explaining her delivery business is now thriving. Inside their office, they take on a new job organizing shelves for a local shop owner. Reflecting on their work, Talia notes the minor magic-using criminals they have apprehended this week. Despite their efforts, he observes that the number of troublemakers is not going down at all. Yabuko happily explains that thanks to Nagisa, cases from local businesses are pouring in. She then excitedly shows him a stack of coupons they received from the cafe manager. Talia examines a flyer telling Yabuko he has found a promising lead on other magic users. Their investigation brings them to a public bathhouse, much to Yabuko's complete shock. He muses that a hot bath is the perfect way to clear one's head and solve problems. With that, they split up at the entrances, agreeing to meet up again later. Just as he is about to enter, a familiar voice suddenly calls out for him to wait. It is Yabuko, declaring she is coming into the men's bath to retrieve her mini-demon god. Inside, Talia is immediately impressed by the sheer size of the human world's bathhouse. He is even amazed by the simple luxury of a working hot shower, a clear novelty to him. While soaking in the main pool, he wonders aloud when their endless mission will finally be over. He considers that capturing rogue mages one by one is still an important task. But his ultimate goal is to find a way to round up all the evil ones at once. Walking through the facility, his attention is suddenly drawn toward the sauna room. He opens the door and greets the patrons inside, completely unaware of who he is about to find. It is the two police mages from before, looking just as stunned to see him there. A bead of sweat rolls down his face as Talia realizes he definitely recognizes these two. This awkward silence in the sauna is deafening as Talia and the police mage stare each other down. One of the mages identifies them as the Magic Special Investigation Unit, but Talia demands they introduce themselves properly. Meanwhile, Yabuko is getting absolutely blasted by a high-pressure jet bath on the other side. An incredibly tense silence falls over the sauna as the three of them just sit there. Talia seethes internally, frustrated that his targets are right here yet he is powerless to act. This long-haired officer points out they are off the clock, so there is no point in starting a fight now. His partner agrees, suggesting they use this chance encounter to have a conversation instead. He then completely breaks the tension by asking Talia if he has a crush on anyone, earning a sharp rebuke. Talia angrily retorts that even if he did, he certainly would not be sharing it with them. This officer then reveals he is also on a mission from the great demon god to capture rogue mages. Hearing this, Talia smirks, realizing he might have just found a way to advance his own plans. When the officer tries to change the subject, Talia sharply tells him not to deflect the conversation. He then puts the officer on the spot, demanding to know what he knows about the situation. This officer explains how mages have been causing constant disturbances since arriving in their world, revealing that their special unit was secretly formed to combat this very problem. This black-haired officer coldly reminds Talia of their different positions, telling him to stay quiet. Unfazed, Talia simply tells the officer not to get so worked up over their conversation. This long-haired officer asks who he is, and Talia introduces himself as part of a special assault team. He then reveals a crucial detail: Sugimura's family was betrayed by magic users long ago. This past betrayal fuels Sugimura's intense, personal hatred for all magic users. Talia suggests he is probably not one of the bad ones, and the officer seems to agree. Pouring water on the hot stones, the officer explains that things are not so simple. As the steam rises, Talia silently processes this new, complicated perspective. He quietly acknowledges the truth in the officer's complicated view of the world. Annoyed, Sugimura snaps at Talia for speaking up again, breaking the demanded silence. He admits he understands why humans would resent magic users for causing so much trouble. This leads Talia to a grim conclusion: perhaps humans and mages can never truly coexist peacefully. A slight smirk appears as he notes it is reassuring to have allies with the same goal, capturing rogue mages. He then proposes they work together, asking the stunned officer for just a little bit of trust. Both officers bluntly call him creepy as they exit the sauna, leaving him to his thoughts. Meanwhile, Yabuko undergoes intense mental training under a powerful waterfall. Back in the sauna, an awkward silence hangs between Talia and the two police mages. This bespectacled officer sweats nervously, struggling to break the thick tension in the air. He finally asks his partner if he is familiar with the Mage ranking system, the Kaiden. This system, he explains, is a 5-tier danger scale, with level 1 being weakest and 5 strongest. Using the bronze golem as an example, he classifies that previous threat as a level 5 mage. His braided partner, Tsujimura, questions the sudden and seemingly random topic of conversation. This officer reveals they are currently hunting a dangerous level 3 mage, catching Tsujimura's attention. Their target is at the Kanda Outlet Mall, where other teams have also reported suspicious movements. Tsujimura glares at his partner, silently demanding to know why he is spilling intel. Standing up, the officer just shrugs it off, saying he simply felt like talking, and then advises Talia not to get involved, clearly trying to wave him off the case. This level 3 target is not alone, backed by an entourage of level 4 and 5 subordinates. With a smirk, the officer admits he was just trying to scare Talia, asking why he is taking it so seriously. But Talia's eyes widen with cold focus, realizing this is a prime opportunity to capture many mages at once. With a smug grin, Talia sees this as a perfect chance to advance his mission. His taunt enrages the dark-haired officer, who vows to pursue him no matter what. He then unleashes a spell that superheats the sauna, catching the two officers completely off guard. Holding a glowing orb, Talia calls it a thank you gift for the intel they gave him. His partner then proposes a challenge to see who can withstand the ultimate sauna. This dark-haired officer eagerly accepts the endurance contest, despite his partner's protests about work. Sometime later, a patron leaves the bathhouse, heading for the lounge area. revealing it is Yabuko, who feels completely refreshed and invigorated by the experience. She explains to the long-haired officer that the bath completely cured her stiff shoulders, but the officer dismisses her amazement, claiming such intense heat is normal in the magic world. She then turns to see Talia and the dark-haired officer emerging, both looking utterly drained from their contest. This long-haired officer explains he won their ridiculous contest through strategy, not just brute endurance. Misunderstanding the situation, Yabuko furiously prepares to summon a demon to attack the officers. Her threat sends the two officers into a panic as Talia yells down, demanding to know what is happening. This officer then explains Talia's magical gift was a navigation spell that led them there perfectly. Talia explains his gift was a spell that automatically guides the user to their destination. Arriving at the Kanda Outlet Mall, he tells Yabuko to take this investigation seriously. And they begin their sweep of the area looking for any sign of their targets. He recalls the intel from Sujimura in the sauna confirming mages are gathering here. With their objective set, the two of them blend into the crowd of shoppers. Talia scans the surroundings but senses no magical energy, remaining on high alert. He warns Yabuko to stay vigilant as their enemies could attack at any moment. Her focus is immediately broken by a shop selling comfortable futons and ice cream. Hidden in the bushes, a group of rogue mages spots them, identifying them as magic users. As Yabuko continues to ramble, Talia dryly questions her current sleeping arrangements. His patience clearly wearing thin, our boy lets out a quiet sigh of frustration. Suddenly, the ambush is sprung as three mages leap from their hiding spot, charging forward. Each of the attackers brandishes a glowing magical orb, preparing to unleash their power. Unfazed by their assault, Talia reveals a strange cannon-like weapon, shocking Yabuko. He fires a massive torrent of water, completely overwhelming the charging mages in an instant. Arriving at the mall, Talia has already taken down a group of rogue mages with ease. This Kanda Outlet Mall serves as the backdrop for this new mage gathering, where a new trio of mages appears, their leader sizing up Talia with a cocky grin. But their confidence is short-lived as they are instantly defeated, forced to cancel their victory party. While casually eating ice cream, Talia scolds them for picking a fight they could not win. His complete lack of concern leaves the defeated trio utterly speechless. Their shock turns to admiration and they suddenly beg to become his students, annoying Yabuko. She cuts in, demanding to know why so many mages have gathered in one place. This leader seems confused, asking if they are not also here for the legendary treasure orb. Talia clarifies they have no such goal, leaving the mages feeling completely dejected. Curious about this orb, Talia asks for details, but Yabuko has never heard of it. This trio explains it is a powerful wish-granting artifact hidden somewhere inside this very mall, and their leader claims his boss intends to use its power to help people in need. Talia immediately calls it a scam, and Yabuko agrees the story sounds incredibly suspicious. Enraged by their doubt, the mage insists they saw its power back in the magic world. A flashback reveals a silhouetted leader preaching about a magic that instantly heals the dying. One young man in the crowd stares back in utter, life-changing disbelief. This leader, a mage named Shindo, reveals his true nature to his new recruits, promising to save everyone if they help him find sacred treasures in the human world. His sinister smile hides a dark promise to solve all of their problems for them. In the present, one of those recruits tells Talia that Shindo is a really good guy, explaining to his friends that there is someone very important they need to save. This youth continues, revealing he is a new mage indebted to someone from his past, and his one goal is to find a way to cure that person's mysterious illness. His friend adds that this person is the benefactor who raised them all, leaving Talia to silently contemplate their desperate, misguided loyalty. He then asks the three brothers to take him to their leader, Agawa-san. Talia considers that these mages might not be evil, just manipulated by their leader. He tells Yabuko to wait, but she insists on going with him, worried it is too dangerous. With a confident smirk, Talia brushes off her concern and walks ahead alone. Yabuko looks completely exasperated, complaining she has not even finished her ice cream yet. Her mini-demon god panics as the treat begins to melt, blaming Talia for rushing them along. Meanwhile, a group of young men stand outside a door in a building slated for demolition. One of them, wearing a chicken jacket, confidently declares that no one will be coming by. But as the door swings open, he is shocked to find Talia standing right there. Inside is a massive gathering of mages, and the young man calls out to their leader, Shindo. This leader, a smug man named Shindo, casually asks what his subordinate wants from him. This subordinate explains that Talia seems interested in their group and would be a powerful ally. Talia introduces himself under the alias Agawa, his expression cold and unreadable. Looking over the chaotic party, he finds the whole scene noisy and deeply irritating. Shindo just laughs it off, amused by all the novelties the human world has to offer. Then Talia drops the act, revealing he is here to capture evil mages for the great demon god. He questions Shindo's true mission, accusing him of being an imposter searching for a treasure. Unfazed, Shindo simply smirks and asks about someone named Yakoda, pointing directly at him. His underlings are left completely confused by the question, one holding a strange glowing device. Without warning, Talia lands a devastating blow on the young mage Yakoda, who collapses to the ground, completely stunned by the sudden and brutal attack. Our boy's face remains utterly blank, showing no emotion for his violent act, as Yakoda's friends rush to his side, crying out in shock and confusion. Shindo simply smirks, annoyed that they have made an unnecessary mess of things. And Talia explains that the one who brought him here was one of the great demon god's underlings. This other mages plead with Shindo, insisting they need everyone to help find the treasure. But their leader drops a bombshell: the orb is useless and his illness was all an act. He coldly declares his followers are worthless and that it might be time to cut them loose, leaving Yakoda to beg for an explanation, still hoping Shindo will hear him out. Shindo cruelly shuts him down, refusing to listen to the pleas of fools. This betrayal forces Talia to recall how the brothers once viewed Shindo as a superhero, a fact that Shindo finds absolutely hilarious, amused by how easily they were duped. He muses that the weak are always quick to fall for sweet promises of salvation, laughing about how his followers never realized his true goal was to rule the human world. In a flashback, Shindo looms over a defeated Yakoda, mocking his desire to save a human. With a cruel smirk, he calls that human benefactor pathetic for raising such a fool. Yakoda explains in anguish that his benefactor eventually fell ill and suffered terribly. But Talia watches this memory with cold disdain, calling the whole story pathetic. Back in the present, Shindo asks if our boy finally understands the situation. He lectures his followers that powerless people with their own ideas only cause trouble. Then, cracking his knuckles, Shindo orders Yakoda to deal with this supposed messenger. And Talia calmly prepares his own spell, holding a small, sparkling magic item. Yakoda rushes forward, declaring his magic is simply the power of his fists. In response, Talia unleashes a surprisingly simple shoelace-tying spell, which instantly binds the charging mage's shoelaces tightly together, sending Yakoda tumbling to the floor in a humiliating and frustrating defeat. Talia's gaze remains completely cold, utterly unfazed by the pathetic display, while Shindo looks on, clearly annoyed by his subordinate's embarrassing failure. Holding his chopsticks, Talia declares he will absolutely send Shindo back to the magic world. Shindo smirks, casually asking why everyone is so worked up over a few strangers. Yakoda defensively tells Shindo that what he does is none of his concern, looking conflicted. Talia acknowledges they only just met, his expression cold and calculating, and points out the brothers were not blameless, having taken over a section of the mall. His gaze remains fixed, leaving his sentence hanging with a quiet but. He then reminds Shindo that these men trusted him, desperate to save someone they cared for. Amused, Shindo scoffs at the idea of trampling on his followers' feelings, calling it distasteful. This young mage, Yakoda, calls out to Agawa-san, his loyalty clearly torn between the two men. Turning his back, Talia gives him a new mission: deliver a message to Yabuko and her demon. He warns that a fight is about to start and orders him to keep everyone away. Stunned, Yakoda realizes he is being asked to defy Shindo and help Talia. His brothers quickly agree, grabbing him and rushing out of the building to follow the order. With the area clearing, Talia strides purposefully toward a nearby watch shop, snatching a small, round alarm clock from a display case inside. He then hurls the clock high into the air, creating a diversion as the mages panic. Shindo's underlings are completely baffled, one of them asking about a clock. Suddenly, the dark-haired mage snaps a wand in half, ready to cast a spell. In response, Talia calmly reveals his own spell, a simple sleep magic using earplugs. His magic transforms the ticking of an alarm clock into a powerful hypnotic suggestion, and a wave of drowsiness washes over the room, sending the mages scrambling in a panic. Standing over the unconscious mages, Talia explains his spell simply puts everyone asleep. Only one opponent remains standing, remarking on the strange and subtle magic Talia used. With a tired smirk, he notes that the spell is useless if its source is destroyed. He then unleashes his own power, manipulating nearby iron debris with a small device. Unfazed, Talia looks on, identifying his opponent's ability as iron manipulation. This mage boasts that a battle's outcome is decided by the power of one's magic, questioning if Talia can win. Accepting the challenge, Talia rips open his coat, revealing dozens of wands and a shirt that reads "Serious." His opponent stares in disbelief, wondering just how many spells Talia has at his disposal. Talia unleashes his arsenal, a barrage of spells for incredibly mundane, everyday tasks. This iron mage is instantly overwhelmed, defeated by a flurry of completely useless magic. With his opponent defeated, Talia stands over the wreckage holding his mundane magic tools. This iron mage screams in disbelief, calling his use of magic a disgrace to their kind. Talia simply states that no matter the spell, his victory is already decided. Meanwhile, outside the building, the situation is about to escalate. Yakoda and his brothers rush up to a surprised Yabuko, who is still waiting on a bench. He breathlessly explains he has an urgent message from Agawa-san, warning her that a fight is starting and to keep everyone away from the area. A crowd of onlookers begins to gather, confused by the commotion and closed-off building. Yabuko's eyes widen in dawning horror as she understands the danger. Looking up, she sees Talia and Shindo locked in a fierce battle high above the city. Shindo lunges forward with a determined snarl, his magic taking a physical form, but Talia remains completely composed, dodging the attack with ease. Down below, Yakoda desperately tries to hold back the curious civilians. Yabuko watches in fear, knowing that innocent people could get hurt if they get too close. Resolved to help, she prepares her own spell, shouting out her intent to use summoning magic. Outside the mall, a massive, decorated elephant suddenly materializes before a crowd. Yabuko sprints ahead with fierce determination, leaving the chaos behind her. This creature stands before the outlet mall, announcing the start of a show for everyone. With a huge, excited grin, she insists they stay and watch the amazing performance. To the crowd's astonishment, the elephant rises onto its hind legs. It then begins to moonwalk backward with impossible grace, leaving everyone speechless. This performance escalates as the creature spins wildly on a single foot, a blur of motion. Striking a final pose with a peace sign, the elephant sends the audience into a frenzy. Onlookers are completely baffled, questioning how such a creature could perform those moves. Yabuko looks utterly mortified as her demon god realizes Agawa-san is the one performing. Her embarrassment turns to resolve, declaring she is his comrade and will do her part. Meanwhile, back in the demolished lot, Talia faces off against the Iron Mage. His opponent looks completely exasperated, demanding to know what Agawa is even planning. This mage internally scoffs at Talia's talent, wasted on useless spells instead of true power. Talia looks up, coldly stating he has no desire for strength, preferring a comfortable, peaceful life. On the desolate rooftop, the defeated Iron Mage admits that everyone, including himself, has lost. Clenching his fist, he spits that Talia's words are nothing but hollow nonsense. In a desperate move, he pulls a small vial from inside his jacket. Talia looks on with complete disinterest, asking what he is holding. His opponent reveals the vial contains a piece of the legendary treasure orb. He declares that even this small fragment holds more than enough power to win. A sudden surge of energy catches Talia's attention as his opponent's magic power spikes. This Iron Mage grits his teeth, admitting he never wanted to use this power on him. With a roar, he unleashes his magic, shouting the command for his iron manipulation. Instantly, the rooftop explodes as a storm of metal debris erupts toward Talia. Screaming in a frenzy, the mage declares he will dominate everything with this power. His twisted logic claims that both weak humans and mages are completely unnecessary. Surrounded by a vortex of scrap metal, he boasts that this sheer volume is unbeatable. This metal storm converges on its target as the mage screams that it is over for Agawa. But Talia is completely unharmed, calmly explaining his spell to arrive at his destination on time. This chicken jacket mage stares in shock, realizing Talia will be right in front of him in 1 second. A massive shockwave erupts as Talia closes the distance in an instant. And his opponent can barely process the incredible speed of the attack. Our boy rushes forward, a blur of motion across the battlefield, landing a powerful blow before the stunned mage can even react. Talia coldly notes that his foe only thinks of grand schemes like world domination, but the desperate mage asks why he cannot understand their feelings. Unmoved, Talia activates a glowing magical device, telling him to reflect in the magic world, unleashing a blinding flash of energy directly at his opponent. This attack completely engulfs the area in a brilliant, overwhelming light, sending the mage reeling back in agony from the sheer force of the blast. He crashes hard onto the ground, utterly defeated by the attack. Standing over him, Talia casually declares the fight is over while holding a water gun. This fallen mage looks up at Agawa, admitting that something is definitely wrong with him. Then challenges Talia for telling him not to be strong while being overwhelmingly powerful himself. Talia coldly calls his opponent's ambition a waste, saying he could have actually achieved it. This defeated mage tearfully recalls their dream of conquering the human world for their people. Dismissing such a troublesome goal, Talia assures him he has no such grand ambitions himself. And with a blinding flash, he sends the Iron Mage back to the magic world for good. This immense magical exertion leaves Talia swaying, admitting he overdid it with his power. Losing his balance, he plummets from the rooftop, his last thought being for Yabuko's safety. Down below, Yabuko screams out the name of her ultimate technique to hold the crowd's attention. Her demon god spins into a wild vortex, delighting the cheering audience with its frantic performance. Yakoda and his brothers struggle to support a dizzy Yabuko, who yells that she is not okay. But she resolves to continue, knowing she must keep everyone distracted to help Agawa-san. Watching from afar, 2 of Shindo's followers accept their defeat, awaiting their own forced return. A scarred mage named Marumori suddenly appears behind them, declaring the fight is not over yet. He identifies Yabuko as Talia's comrade, planning to take her hostage to negotiate. At that very moment, a miniature version of her demon god pops into existence on Yabuko's head. As Marumori takes aim with a strange device, preparing to fire a magical projectile at her, Talia is suddenly ambushed, deflecting a flurry of attacks from a group of suited agents. Yabuko looks on in absolute disbelief, completely stunned by the sudden turn of events. A new mage with glasses explains that the higher-ups have not given the green light yet. His team arrives on the scene, confirming the building is evacuated and their pretext is set. This leader then turns to the crowd, ordering everyone to clear the area for their own safety. His magical police force begins its work, with strange creatures herding the civilians away. He confronts Yabuko directly, questioning if she is an accomplice of the man called Agawa. With crowd control handled, he orders his comrades to lead him straight to their target. This scene shifts back to the desolate, rubble-strewn rooftop of the mall. Yabuko and the others burst through the door, shocked by the devastation before them. They spot a body on the ground and cry out in fear, thinking it is Agawa-san. But it is just the Iron Mage, who sits up groggily, claiming he was only sleeping. Everyone gathers around, relieved but confused, as Talia stands with the new arrivals. This leader of the new group turns to his subordinate, demanding to know what happened. His white-haired companion stammers, completely unsure how to explain the bizarre situation. With Shindo's mages defeated and sent back to their world, the immediate threat is over. Suddenly, a new group appears, the blonde one revealing Shindo was their third target. Talia sits exhausted on the ground, muttering his alias. Agawa. This glasses-wearing mage thanks him, explaining his own subordinates handled Shindo without injury. Yabuko expresses her immense gratitude, which Talia casually dismisses with a thumbs up. But the new mage points out that Talia's power, while enough to beat Shindo, also caused significant damage. He then snaps a pair of handcuffs onto a surprised Talia, stating he cannot overlook the destruction, and formally requests that Agawa accompany him to their headquarters for questioning. Behind them, Yabuko and the others erupt in protest, demanding to know what is happening. Leaving both Talia and his new comrade completely stunned by this sudden turn of events. This scene shifts to a grand, traditional-style building in a strange world with floating islands. Inside, guards rush toward a sudden explosion, shouting orders to capture an intruder. A woman in a fine kimono greets the captured Shindo, casually asking if he enjoyed the human world. He kneels on the floor, utterly defeated, as guards close in around him. But just as they reach him, he clutches a glowing object, unleashing his iron magic once more. Inside an ornate hall, a strange duck-headed pillar stands silent watch. Suddenly, a body is sent flying across the room with devastating force. It is Shindo, laughing maniacally as he mocks Agawa's supposed weakness. In a flashback, he defiantly states he should have been sent back as a corpse. A mysterious woman with elaborate hair calmly asks what he is plotting in the human world. Clutching a small device, Shindo mutters that getting caught means a life sentence. This woman continues her questioning, demanding to know who brought them there. With a crazed grin, he makes a desperate, unhinged threat. She completely ignores his outburst, cheerfully asking why he will not answer her. Her dismissive attitude leaves him utterly stunned and confused, asking why. Rising to her feet, her form shifts into something far more imposing and divine. She calmly explains that she must act from time to maintain her dignity. Shindo can only stare in absolute terror, unable to process what is happening. Pointing directly at him, she gives a simple order for him to go. She then holds up a glowing artifact, declaring the date to be the impossible June 31st. Shindo can only stare in abject terror, his mind shattered by her impossible words. He is then cast backward into a dark, watery abyss, completely powerless to resist. As he sinks into the depths, the shock of his utter defeat is etched on his face. Emerging back in the grand hall, he is violently hooked and dragged from the water by guards. This mysterious woman orders a thorough investigation as her soldiers subdue the broken mage. After her immense display of power, she casually stretches, remarking how tiring exercise can be. She then smirks, impressed that her subordinate managed to handle a mage as strong as Shindo. With a proud smile, she muses that this is exactly what she expects from her own chosen agent. Meanwhile, Talia is led away in handcuffs as Yabuko laughs uncontrollably at the absurdity. Her laughter quickly turns to tears as she wails over why Agawa-sen was arrested. Talia looks on with a deadpan expression, calmly stating his punishment will be the death penalty. Yabuko immediately scolds him for saying something so terrifying while he sits calmly in interrogation. They have been taken to the imposing headquarters of the Magic Special Investigation Unit. In the visitation room, Yabuko cannot believe he is being punished for defeating the enemy mage. She suddenly erupts in anger as someone enters, protesting this completely unfair situation. A woman with tired eyes coldly states she has not permitted any meeting, telling them to calm down. Back with Yabuko, she grits her teeth in fury, declaring she will be enraged if anything happens to Agawa-san. One of the Yakoda brothers then asks her what became of their other three siblings. She begins to explain the events that followed Agawa's shocking arrest, revealing that they were able to reunite with a benefactor at a nearby hospital. Bursting into a room, the brothers excitedly call out for a man named Atsuji-san. An older man in a hospital gown looks up from his paper, completely taken by surprise. They greet him with wide smiles, relieved that he still remembers who they are. Yakoda shakes his hand, joking about how old he has gotten, but Atsuji says they have not changed at all. His expression turns serious as he mentions hearing that they had fallen ill. Overcome with emotion, Yakoda tearfully apologizes for their failures despite trying so hard, but Atsuji just smiles warmly, assuring them that simply seeing them again is enough for him. Another brother embraces him, tearfully asking what he has been doing for the past 10 years. Yabuko's explanation continues, revealing they were sent back to the magic world, which was worrying. Now she sits alone in an interrogation room, waiting on the other side of a one-way mirror. Yabuko muses that it is strange to think mages were once human, but the white-haired mage retorts that he was always a human, leaving her completely stunned by his unexpected answer. As Talia is led away, she bangs on the glass, begging them to wait. A friend suddenly appears, placing a reassuring hand on Yabuko's shoulder, telling her not to worry as Agawa probably will not face a terrible fate. She even offers a personal guarantee, though Yabuko remains completely unconvinced. Meanwhile, Talia is escorted down a sterile corridor into a secure room, arriving on a massive research floor dominated by a strange, ancient artifact. This glasses-wearing leader explains that this is a relic from a great war of the past. A weapon used by mages during the ancient conflict with humanity. His subordinate wonders if the treasure orb that Shindo possessed was a similar relic. Another agent confirms that Shindo was at the mall specifically to find it, recalling how the Iron Mage crushed the orb to amplify his magic tenfold. This leader concludes it is a crystal designed to store and contain magical power. Talia insists they must retrieve the treasure orb fragment before the situation gets worse. From an elevator, a woman in a long coat appears, agreeing with his assessment. She explains that the recent surge in mage activity is directly connected to this artifact. Her subordinate bows as she confirms the treasure orb is the source of all their problems. Introducing herself as Chikuma, the task force chief, she requests a word with Agawa Talia. This scene then shifts to a sterile hallway leading to an interrogation room. Our boy looks on with a weary expression as the door slams shut behind him. Inside, Chikuma gestures for him and the glasses-wearing agent to take a seat. Leaning back, she remarks that it is highly unusual for her to speak directly with a mage. This agent explains he vouched for Agawa, claiming he could be a friendly asset. Still cuffed, Talia questions why he is being helped, dismissing any grand stakes. His captor counters that defeating Shindo proves Talia's power surpasses the third hierarchies. Chikuma cuts them off, tired of the posturing and demanding they get straight to the point. This agent then makes a strange proposal, betting that Talia will eventually betray them. Suggesting a joint operation, he argues it would be beneficial for everyone involved. With a bright smile, Chikuma claps her hands, agreeing to a mutual exchange of information. In the interrogation room, she explains her unit's purpose is to capture mages who cause trouble. This task force chief sits with a confident smirk, completely in control of the room. Her gaze sharpening as she notes a recent, troubling surge in mages crossing into their world. Turning to Talia, the agent states that his own subordinate was the one who encountered him. And Chikuma directly addresses Agawa Talia, confirming his official role as a retrieval agent. Holding up a photograph, she asks if he recognizes the image, catching him off guard. It is a picture of a man's back covered in strange symbols she claims are on many recent captives. When asked for an explanation, Talia identifies the symbols as letters from the magic world, confidently stating he could decipher the text if they let him use his magic. At the agent's request, Chikuma agrees to remove the handcuffs, freeing Talia's hands. Now free, our boy holds the photo and begins to read the magic, a light glowing from his fingertip. He recites a string of nonsensical syllables, infuriating the agent who thinks he is mocking them. Chikuma just smirks, jokingly ordering a guillotine prepared for our boy's little prank, but Talia clarifies the strange words actually translate to mini-demon god. This interrogation is interrupted by a tiny, doll-like version of that powerful woman who claims she snuck in. Holding up a picture of strange tattoos, she reveals they are words from a specific country in the magic world. This nation is identified as Droy, a desolate, isolated land that no one dares to approach. Chikuma immediately questions if this country is responsible for sending mages into their world. With a knowing smile, the tiny figure confirms that the possibility is extremely high. Realizing the gravity of this connection, she declares this must be reported to the great demon god at once. Chikuma then turns to Talia, officially asking him to hunt down these mages and extract information. He agrees with a smirk, promising to handle any trouble that arises in his own way. Meanwhile, Yabuko waits anxiously outside the headquarters, sitting completely alone. She breaks down in tears, terrified that Agawa's death penalty threat was actually real. Suddenly, Talia appears with a thumbs up, shocking her with the news that he is alive and free. Overjoyed, she cries out in relief as he apologizes for making her worry so much. As they walk away from the building, he tells her there is something important he needs to discuss. He begins to explain that all the mages causing chaos in the human world are somehow connected to a nation in the magic world called Droy, leaving Yabuko utterly stunned by the revelation. A girl panics beside her companion, questioning if they are really going to fight such a massive threat. Her white-haired friend calmly states their mission is unchanged, to save those in need. A determined girl with dark hair enthusiastically agrees with his simple philosophy. He then declares they will begin training so they can defeat any enemy they face. His method involves using magic to heal muscle pain for endless training, which she protests. This scene shifts to the exterior of their base, the Agawa consultation office. A woman with glasses arrives, nervously confirming she is at the right place to make a request. Inside, she finds the white-haired boy meditating while his comrade bursts in, shouting about her training. This energetic girl struggles to explain the client's situation, completely flustered and loud, but the client cuts in with her real request, asking Agawa-san to go on a date with her. As his companion continues her bizarre training routine, our boy remains completely still. This training girl finally processes the request with a shout of disbelief while he sighs at the hassle. This next day, the white-haired boy walks alone through the city with a stoic expression. He arrives at a train station, admitting to himself he was worried and came anyway, where his dark-haired friend frets over whether Agawa will be okay on his date. Talia recalls his own confusion, admitting he does not truly understand the concept of dating. A girl tries to explain romance tropes from a book, much to her friend's frantic dismay. This flustered client then begs him to pretend to be her boyfriend for a day. Her name is Sakato Moan and she is being relentlessly pursued by a persistent friend. This plan is simple: have Talia declare he is her boyfriend to make the other man back off. With that backstory established, the scene shifts to the day of the operation. His companion watches from hiding as Talia prepares to play the part of Moan's boyfriend. She suddenly worries, wondering if he has ever even had a girlfriend before. A quick flashback reveals he spent 300 years in the magic world without one, mostly sleeping. Talia stands waiting in a questionable outfit, his shirt bluntly reading dating. From a distance, his companion watches as their client Moan finally arrives at the station. Moan greets him nervously, thanking Agawa-san for agreeing to help with her predicament. He simply notes her change in appearance, his expression as stoic as ever. After a brief, awkward exchange about her platform boots, they stand together on the platform. She shyly admits she tried to dress the part of a girlfriend, asking if it is too strange. Talia decides he should probably change his clothes to better fit the part. Using a quick burst of magic to instantly alter his outfit, stunning Moan. He coolly turns to leave, but she is left completely baffled by the sudden transformation. Dismissing her shock, Talia simply calls it a little magic trick, a simple sleight of hand, then offers her a paper bag, saying it is too much for him to eat alone. He explains he passed a taiyaki stand and bought an extra one out of habit for Yabuko. From her hiding spot, Yabuko watches him offer the snack to their client. Completely shocked that he is somehow pulling off the boyfriend role so naturally, she grumbles to herself, wishing he'd bought that taiyaki for her instead. Now the pair walks down the street, beginning their fake date in earnest. Moan nervously points out the cafe where they will stage their performance for her pursuer, but her platform boots betray her and she suddenly trips forward. She lets out a panicked cry as she loses her balance completely. Talia's eyes narrow as he reacts with lightning-fast reflexes. In a fluid motion, he catches her, pulling her safely into his arms. As they walk together, Moan thanks him profusely, but Talia simply tells her not to worry. From a distance, his companion marvels at their pace, wondering if her yoga training is paying off. The sky above them suddenly darkens, a low rumble echoing through the city streets. Without warning, a sudden downpour erupts, catching all the pedestrians completely by surprise. While Moan panics about the rain, Talia calmly notes the weather forecast was wrong. Unbothered, he raises a finger, preparing a simple spell to keep them from getting wet. A shimmering magical barrier instantly forms above their heads, deflecting the heavy rain, leaving Moan completely stunned as he explains they can now ignore the storm. He warns her the shield's range is limited, instructing her to stay close to his side. Meanwhile, his hooded companion is left to shiver in the downpour, still spying from afar. Walking together under the magical canopy, the scene starts to feel like a real date. His companion is impressed by his performance, though her friend insists Agawa is not popular. A flashback reveals his fatal flaw in the magic world was extreme laziness with no romantic history. His friend notes he has become more active lately, almost resembling a kind, charming young man. This thought suddenly strikes his companion. What if this fake relationship actually becomes real? From the shadows, his companion frets that this date is interfering with their real mission. She wonders what to do, ultimately deciding to trust that Talia will not forget his duties. This scene shifts to a rainy cafe, the designated meeting spot for the confrontation. Inside, Moan nervously explains that her persistent pursuer should be arriving any moment. Talia scans the room with a grim expression, ready to identify the man causing the trouble, but Moan points to a young boy named Kaido, leaving Talia stunned that the target is a kid. She insists that despite his age, he will not stop confessing his love for her. This boy retorts that he is not a child, proudly stating he pays adult train fares now. Putting their plan into action, Moan grabs Talia and declares he is her boyfriend. Kaido simply stares back, completely unfazed by her dramatic announcement. He bluntly states he does not care if she has a boyfriend, shocking Moan with his persistence. Confused, she notes to herself that he never used to be this aggressive before. Talia reveals he knows the boy, explaining they used to play together as neighbors. This strange behavior, however, seems to be a very recent development for Kaido. Taking charge, Talia steps between them, telling the kid to back down for a moment. Talia explains that the persistent boy is suffering from a case of magic intoxication, and with a simple tap, he casts a spell to return the boy to his senses, shocking everyone. Moan frantically asks what he just did, but Talia calmly explains it is a basic calming magic. This dazed boy touches his face, the spell's effects clearly taking hold. His mind clears, leaving him utterly mortified by his recent aggressive behavior. Moan quickly apologizes, asking him to forget everything she just said about having a boyfriend. Talia then elaborates on magic intoxication, a state where strong magic causes a loss of self-control. Her friend sits in stunned silence, overwhelmed with embarrassment from the whole ordeal. Looking at him with sympathy, Moan prepares to let him down gently. And she apologizes for the scheme, leaving him completely flustered. She admits that hearing his confession still made her happy even if the timing was wrong. Gently patting his head, she asks to remain friends for now, hinting at a possible future. She makes him promise to tell her his feelings again someday when the time is right. Having resolved the situation, Talia watches the two of them from a distance. Then turns and calls out to Yabuko, the mini-demon god, revealing he knew she was spying all along. Yabuko sits in the cafe, still processing the fact that she has found a clue to the rogue mage. This next day, they arrive at Shigasaki City's second middle school, their new hunting ground. Posing as new teachers, Yabuko nervously asks if their target is really here, which Talia confirms. He states with cold focus that this is where they will finally meet their quarry. Inside a classroom, a teacher explains to the students that they will part ways after just 1 year, a thought that makes Yabuko reflect on how this mission will create irreplaceable memories. Now standing before the class, the two of them begin their undercover operation as educators. Talia surprisingly plays the part, telling the students to study hard as Yabuko watches in shock. Their actual teacher clarifies they are just temporary lecturers, not full-time staff members. Despite the strange circumstances, the school itself appears completely normal on the outside. Yabuko complains about this sudden infiltration plan, all just to capture a single mage. But Talia connects the dots, explaining Kaido's recent magic intoxication is the key. She recalls the term, a side effect caused by the use of powerful magic nearby. This means there is a high probability a powerful mage is hiding somewhere close to the boy. Their objective is now clear: find the mage at Kaido's school and send them back home. Posing as teachers for their next mission, Talia adjusts his glasses with a confident smirk, confirming their plan to infiltrate the school as a PE and art teacher duo. She marvels at the power of the Special Forces team that handed them this investigation. And first period begins with Agawa-sense taking charge of the baseball class. Stepping onto the field, Talia prepares to pitch the first ball to his students, who question why their teacher is pitching until he explains they are short on players. With a sudden burst of intensity, he winds up for a surprisingly serious pitch. But his throw is incredibly clumsy, earning immediate mockery for his terrible form. Unseen by the students, he discreetly pulls a small, thin rod from his jacket, aiming it at the ball, which suddenly begins to glow and change its trajectory. This enchanted ball zips past the stunned batter, slamming into the catcher's mitt with impossible speed, leaving Talia to calmly call a strikeout as the batter questions the impossible curve. He nonchalantly explains it is a trash disposal spell that guides objects to a target, offering the students a deal. Anyone who hits a home run gets an automatic A. He quickly corrects himself, clarifying the deal is for when he steps up to bat instead. This next day at a local school, a student approaches Talia, calling him Agawa-sensei. Kaido, now back to his normal self, cheerfully greets him, glad to see him again. Talia checks on the boy, asking if there are any lingering effects from the magic intoxication. This friendly interaction catches the eye of Kaido's spiky-haired friend, who questions their connection. He warns Kaido to stay away from the strange new teacher, sensing something is off about him. Unfazed, Talia explains he is conducting an undercover investigation while holding a baseball. His bizarre declaration leaves the students completely bewildered as he tells them to grab their bats. He then challenges them to hit his magically infused pitch, a dark aura flaring around him. From the batter's box, the students swing wildly, unable to even touch his pro-level throws. Kaido watches from the sidelines, a shadow falling over his face as he processes the display. Meanwhile, in art class, Yabuko has also gone undercover as Yabuko-sensei. She brandishes her pencil with the intense focus of a master swordsman preparing for battle. Her target is a simple plaster bust, the subject for today's sketching lesson. With a flurry of powerful strokes, she attacks the canvas with incredible speed and precision. In moments, she reveals her masterpiece, a photorealistic drawing that leaves her beaming with pride. In an art class, students marvel at a portrait Yabuko apparently drew in just 3 minutes. She gets flustered by the praise, admitting she is a bit rusty and can do much better. Her classmates are still in awe, confirming that Yabuko is known for her incredible artistic talent. A quick flashback reveals she is used to this, having practiced drawing under supervision for years. This instructor then steps forward, preparing to give the class their official assignment for the day. But Yabuko suddenly declares the test. To pass, they must draw a picture as good as hers. This students immediately panic, insisting that such a difficult challenge is completely impossible for them. Realizing her standard is too high, she tells everyone to wait and quickly runs out of the room. A brilliant flash of summoning magic erupts from behind the closed door, startling a student. Yabuko returns, presenting a bizarre figure wearing a giant bird mask and a cloak. As the class stares in utter confusion, she clarifies that this is a shoebill stork, and with a confident grin, she announces this strange being will be their new model. The students begin sketching as she casually explains she used magic to summon it from her home. One student stares intently at the magical creature, a strange focus in their eyes. This school bell rings, echoing across the courtyard as the unusual art class continues. Talia thoughtfully considers their next move after a long day of investigation. At the end of the school day, he checks in with Yabuko, who confirms she managed her part. She asks if he properly played his role as Agawa-sensei, which he nonchalantly confirms. She notes he seemed a bit too invested as he recalls getting carried away during the baseball game, but the main issue remains: they still have not found any trace of the rogue mage. Yabuko explains that a powerful mage can completely conceal their magical aura, making them hard to find. This means if their target is indeed at this school, they are facing a very skilled opponent. Talia remains confident, suggesting their enemy might reveal themselves by trying to attack them first. Suddenly, a loud shout from down the hall interrupts their strategy session. A strange new girl appears, brandishing a wand and offering to tell their fortunes. She points her wand directly at Talia, mentioning a rumor about a pillow as Yabuko watches in shock. In a flash, her wand unleashes a barrage of pillows that fly straight toward them. Talia deflects the attack with his own wand, annoyed that his favorite pillow was destroyed in the process. This girl laughs maniacally, amused by his strange and unexpected counterspell. Joined by a silent, dark-haired boy, she declares that this kind of practical test is far more fun. This blonde mage complains about the human world's rules to her stoic companion. From the hallway, Talia confirms his suspicion. The rogue mage is one of the students. He decides they will make their move after school, ordering Yabuko to prepare for the confrontation. Talia prepares a transformation spell telling his partner to drop her own disguise. He shifts into a delinquent persona, warning that their young target is not to be underestimated. As they approach, the blonde girl casually notes his sudden and dramatic change of clothes. She then mocks Yabuko's appearance, claiming the teacher disguise was a much better look for her. Her dark-haired partner urges her to focus, telling her to secure their objective quickly. This girl pouts, wishing she could have fought Talia's older brother instead of them. With a confident smile, she boasts that back home, no adult could ever lay a hand on her. Her companion dismisses her bragging, reminding her that such talk is old news now. Seeing Yabuko getting flustered, Talia tells her to fire back with a retort of her own. This taunts continue as the blonde mage dares them to show her what they are really made of. Finally snapping, Yabuko erupts in anger, calling her opponent an immature fool. Talia calmly reassures her, telling her to have confidence because she will be just fine. Yabuko insists they have completed missions and special training, making them fully prepared. But Talia calmly states the most important thing in these situations is a strong will. Their training is revealed to be a hallway chase with Talia wielding a water gun. Eagerly, she accepts the challenge, lunging forward to begin their mock battle. She confidently dodges an attack, boasting that she is too quick to be hit. But a new girl with a headband reveals she was aiming for the floor instead. Suddenly, the floor beneath Yabuko erupts in a geyser of water, a perfectly laid trap. Completely drenched and caught off guard, she can only stare in utter shock. This headband girl laughs, mockingly calling it an unlucky hallway for Yabuko. To make matters worse, a part of the ceiling above her begins to crumble. Talia calls out her name, his expression unreadable as he watches the chaos unfold. From the ground, a soaked Yabuko gives a determined thumbs up, refusing to quit. Tears well in her eyes, but her gaze remains fixed with fiery resolve. Seeing her unbroken spirit, Talia cracks a small, approving smile. With a powerful shout, she leaps into the air and unleashes her summoning magic. A new student with a strange headband suddenly appears, her eyes wide with surprise. As Yabuko soars past on a massive magical beast, baiting it with a carrot on a stick. She proudly declares she is a full-fledged mage, not some demon god's underling. But her rival just smirks, encouraging the confrontation and telling her to win no matter what. Later that night, the school grounds fall under a dark and foreboding sky. A lone teacher patrols the halls, glad that exams mean he can go home early. His flashlight cuts through the darkness as he confirms everything is quiet and secure, completely unaware of the chaotic magical battle erupting inside a nearby classroom. This headband girl unleashes a fortune-telling attack, predicting great misfortune for her targets, prompting Yabuko's summoned Shubil Stork to leap into action with a powerful kick. In a bizarre turn, Yabuko prepares to eat as her loyal summon offers to be her footstool, which makes their opponent comment on how surprisingly strong their defense is. She then smirks, revealing that the moment her spell hit, they had already lost. Pointing out the unfortunate leak in the ceiling right above the Shubil Stork. Her laughter echoes as the ceiling gives way, dropping a ball directly onto the creature's head. This headband girl laughs at the chaos, mocking how balls are pelting the Shubil Stork from everywhere. Soaked but defiant, Yabuko shouts that she has not lost, she is just taking a quick break. In a burst of defiance, she summons a small cat familiar holding 2 golden coins. Her opponent just smirks, revealing a fortune stick that predicts great blessing for herself. Yabuko's cat familiar unleashes a spinning vortex of coins, a whirlwind of good fortune aimed at its master. With a casual swing of her wand, the headband girl deflects the coin attack, sarcastically noting her own luck. She then casts a great curse, summoning a wave of unlucky Mankiniko familiars to overwhelm Yabuko. Looming over the now shrunken and defeated summon, she asks if Yabuko finally understands the difference between them. Her magic, she boasts, is all about manipulating fortune, making luck incredibly good or terribly bad. From the floor, Yabuko can only listen as her rival taunts her for having no talent for this kind of fight. But Yabuko's spirit is not broken, clenching her fist and vowing to master this kind of magic herself. This fortune teller unleashes another great curse, a wave of bad luck that slams directly into Yabuko. To her horror, Yabuko finds her magical energy will not flow, her spells completely nullified by the curse. Her rival then casually mentions the Yabuko family name, known for its powerful summoning arts, questioning how a member of such a prestigious clan could possibly be so pathetically weak. This headband girl gloats, claiming the difference between them is simply a matter of talent. This taunt strikes a nerve, leaving Yabuko completely stunned by her opponent's words. A flashback reveals a failed summoning attempt, producing only a tiny dragonfly in a puff of smoke. She recalls complaining to Talia that she messes up her spells whenever she gets distracted, but he had praised her incredible rate of improvement during their special training. He explains he is just organizing her magic, admitting he did not really understand it himself. She points out that she does not possess any combat-oriented magic, a fact Talia confirms. With a worried expression, she asks if he is not anxious about their situation. He turns the question back on her, asking what she will do if she cannot win. To her surprise, he calmly states that he feels no anxiety whatsoever. His preference is for practical, convenient spells, and he is confident in the path he has chosen. His words sink in. If she cannot win, she just needs to figure out a new way to fight. Talia encourages her to simply believe in her own magic and her own strength. Returning to the present, Yabuko faces her rival, admitting she may not have talent, but she declares that the time she has spent mastering her magic is second to none. This blonde mage taunts Yabuko, asking what she is doing now that her summoning magic has failed. This headband girl aims her glowing wand, challenging her opponent to guess what happens next. Her spell unleashes a swarm of magical dragonflies, catching the blonde mage completely off guard. Annoyed, the blonde mage scoffs at the insects, asking if her opponent is just messing with her. She counters with her own spell, unleashing a powerful blast to clear the annoying insects away. She laughs, boasting that she simply made them disappear, though a few still buzz around her. But the insects were just a distraction, allowing Yabuko to rush in for a surprise attack. She lands a powerful punch, sending the blonde mage reeling from the unexpected physical blow. This blonde mage is stunned, wondering how Yabuko's movements suddenly became so fast and precise. Yabuko proudly declares she's been training to fight herself, not just rely on her summoned beasts. Pinning her opponent, Yabuko taunts her for not using her great luck magic on herself. A look of horror crosses the blonde mage's face as she realizes she already used that spell. This headband girl explains that her magic's effect resets each time a new spell is cast, meaning the great misfortune is now affecting her tiny doll-like summon on the staff. And with a determined grin, she declares that she can use magic too as her staff begins to glow. Yabuko screams for them to wait, watching the chaos of the misfortune spell unfold. Suddenly, the blonde mage summons a colossal lion that erupts into the destroyed classroom. Their headband-wearing opponent just bursts into a fit of maniacal laughter at the sight. Enraged, Yabuko declares she has no intention of ever giving up on this fight.